What's good with it? In the hood with it? You already know what it is. This is Gunner's Profiles, man, where we really get it in. And we get it in a little bit differently than Gunner's Collective. How do you get it in different? We fitted it. Bang, bang. You know, hey, if it doesn't work the first time, toma. The second time always works. Now, these are all actual factual stories and all actual factual perspectives and opinions. And anything else would be considered added preservatives. And we don't do that right here on Gunner's Profiles, man. We give it to you raw doggy. Go no magnum. Yes, I said magnum. Spell that 3 times. I said. Now, trip out. Guard. We're about to get busy. One thing I did want to speak on today was all this George Lopez and Ralph Barbosa. I call him Ralphie. Or Ralphie Barbosa stuff going on. Now, we all seen it. I spoke on it. Dub spoke on it. Several other individuals on YouTube spoke on it. Hey, it was sizzling, right? When it comes to Raza, we don't have very much. We don't have too many comedians, so everybody wants to hear our opinions and our perspectives on what's going on. And one thing I could say personally, right, real time experience is that, you know, George Lopez lately has been looking a little wishy-washy, a little whitewashed, right? A little Uncle Tomish. But that's cool. Hey, what, brother? It's mighty white of him. Look, it's okay, Woods. It's okay. It's okay to get a little bit of money and prosper and move up out the barrio, up out the hood. It's okay. You don't have to give nothing back to anybody. You don't have to give your people nothing. You don't have to bring anyone up. You don't have to help anyone. You don't have to do none of that. See, none of that is in the contract of life. It's all that's in the contract of life is live and die. And anything in between that you choose to do, well, that's on you. That's the content of your character, and a man will be judged on the content of his character. So what? Oh my gosh. If George Lopez doesn't want to help the people out, you know what I mean? That's his prerogative. He's going to do what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, us as Raza, the people that supported him, watched all his sitcoms, watched all his performances, watched all his lives, went to his comedy shows, we expect some get backs. We expect a little love, a little admiration, a little, hey, thank you. I appreciate that, right? And at the same time, when we don't get that, well, guess what? The support starts to flounder. The support starts to say, you know what? Again, we don't support you anymore. I say, orale, you know. One thing is for sure, I've always supported George Lopez. He's one of my favorite comedians. Let's just keep it real. He did what not many others were willing to do. He got up there in front of thousands and millions of people and did him. At the end of the day, that's all you can do. And being brown and seeing someone as I recognized as such, and seeing someone that I could identify with, because you got to keep it real. He had it on lock. For about 5 years, that man had it sewed up, locked down, locked up. So I can't throw away the key. Get behind me, other comedians. Get behind me. He had that game on lock. And it was because as Raza, we could identify with them. When he talked about drinking out of the manguera, shit, I used to drink about the manguera, right? Now I make them drink about my manguera. But when we're talking about things like his abuelita, the way she treated him, put your hands down. Put your hands down. Shit, my jefita used to tell me put my hands down. I used to be like, yeah, offense, defense. Like a cat, but you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to put my hands down because I knew what that entailed. You know, walking through the store of Kmart, my mom talking about you're going to get it, and I got it as soon as I got home. So I know what he meant, and I could identify with the hot dogs con pan and not hot dog buns. Just things that he said we all knew were real because we lived that life. We lived the rats, the roaches, the shiesty approaches, the shady characters. We had the tios that couldn't breathe, right? Faking the pain in their chest. We knew what it was, and George Lopez brought the enthusiasm. He brought that, a little coke money never hurt nobody. He brought that to the stage, and we all soaked it, acknowledged it, and supported him. Now, time changes. Money changes people. And, you know, it seems like he got a nice little stack, and he started to act a little bit out of character, a little bit different. You know, he got progressive in his stance politically, and hey, to each their own. I might not agree with you and you might not agree with me, and we could agree to disagree, or we can't even do that. We just disagree, and that's fun and dandy and fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't judge a man based on who he affiliates with or what he does. I base a man on based on how he's going to treat me and how he treats others around him. Now, everything that I've heard, not everything, because I heard conflicting stories. I heard by some people, like the rapper Conejo said, he had nothing but admiration and respect for that Vato because that Vato treated him like-mindedness. He was cool with them. You know, he showed them love. He showed everybody love. And everyone's going to have a difference of opinions. It just depends on the type of day. If the Vato's having a bad day and hey, George, can I get your autograph? Fuck you, puto. Well, then guess what? Maputo. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. I'm going to have a different take on it than someone else does. But I respect everybody's opinion. and everybody's perspective on George. Now, my perspective on George is I used to support him heavily. I don't as much anymore because I could see that we don't have the same type of agenda. His comedy is stagnant, stale. There's nothing for me to support really at this point. But at the end of the day, as a person, as being one of the innovators of the Raza comedians and doing that, I got nothing but love and respect for you, baby. Now, at the same time, Gord! Let me talk about Ralph Barbosa. He's young, up and coming, hot on the scene. This guy's funny. A different type of humor than George. A dry humor. Now, I know there's a lot of speculation. Was he Mexicano? Is he Mexicano? To what degree Mexicano? And at the end of the day, yes, he is Raza. He might not look it at all times, you know what I mean? But that haircut and the way he does this lets me know that he definitely is a Mexican heritage, right? Because we all do this at times. And it's not because we're Barbosa, it's because we're shocked. You're not laughing at my joke. And that's what it is, right? But when I seen that Edgar haircut, I knew right then and there. Okay, two things. Either it's related to Pontius Pilate or he's got his apocalypto going on. One way or the other, he's got the brown in him. Now, trip out. When George had that interview on the podcast and George said, who is this dude? Why do you keep mentioning his name? I don't give a heck. You know what I mean? I understood where George was coming from. He was coming from this. See, when you're high and you're here, you're on top of the totem pole and Sasuke can't no one take you down or tear you down, then you're wondering why even a guy that's barely got on the scene is being mentioned in the same conversation. Well, guess what, Mr. Lopez? He's going to, see that right there? He's going to continue to be mentioned. And the reason he's going to be mentioned in the conversation is he is young, up and coming, and he's doing it for the brown people. See, we don't have much. We don't have much in politics. We don't have much in actors. We barely got any. All right, Daniel LaRusso, wait up. He was a Mexican. Spencer, Karate Kid, do the crane. All I'm saying is we don't have much. Gente. Oh boy, we had Bob though. Bob was a real, who do you love? But he wasn't even Mexicano. At the end of the day, we just identify with the brown Latino and hey, we run with that. Okay, gracias for that. Vicente held it down for so many years. Chalino, he didn't get as many years, but he still continues to hold it down. You know what I'm saying? Okay, órale, pan de recuerdo, step up. Los Bookies. That's a vivo de tres animales. Los Tucanes de Tijuana, they do it. Now, at the end of the day, all we have is Modelo, Coronas, and George Lopez. But now we have Ralph. Carlos Mencia, he done clicked that off, stealing everybody's shit. But we definitely have Ralph, and we expected more from George as being a pioneer in the comedian game to, you know, show this guy some love. But at the end of the day, we can't be mad because he didn't. So what? That's it. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. It's his prerogative. He can do what he wants to do, right? And we can't tell that man nothing. But of course, you know, us being Raza, having platforms, we had to voice our opinions and give our perspective and our take on how we felt about it. I thought it was ugly. I thought it was a situation that could have been handled better. I thought he could have said, hey, who was that with us? I don't know him, but hey, more power to him. Power to the people. I thought it could have went that route, but it didn't. Now, obviously, George felt the heat. Está caliente in here, eh? Of course, Feo, it is. It gets hot when you're messing with the Raza. People are going to speak upon what should be spoke upon. Facts. You know, one thing about the brown people is they don't talk too much, and when they do, they're heard, or felt. And you'd rather hear them than feel them. They like knives, and that's just how it is, right? But he heard the people cry out for blood. It's sangre. The people were like, hey, what's up, homes? Why are you hating on this youngster? I don't think he necessarily was hating on the youngster. What I think he more so was doing was just showing the changes that he's made in life. You know, he's changed for the better or the worse. I say the worse, you might say the better. Whatever's clever. At the end of the day, you know, in the meantime, in between time, you still got to never forget where you came from. I come from fruit stamps, top ramen, and roaches. Nopales on a good Sunday. You know what it is. Menudo, and I was all sparked and happy. I come from a brown household, right? And I'm sure George did, just by listening to the stories. I know he did. And he was an ugly fucker doing it. But one thing I can say for sure is Ralph Barbosa has also come from nothing to something. The hard work that he has put in and the love he has showed for the founding forefathers of comedy and just the way he aggressively attacks that mic and just you can identify with. He's a youngster, whole different era, but I still can identify with some of the things he says. Orale, I like him. Dry humor, but great humor at the same time. Now, when George said what he said, everybody went crazy. Oh man, he sold out. I myself made a video called, did George sell out? Right? So I was scared. Yeah, he sold out every auditorium and stadium and casino he's ever been to. And so I was scared right now, George, I think it's casino, you shall go, right? But I will say this, local bars, everything, he always sells out. That's George Lopez. That's right now. If they said, hey, tickets, I got a ticket for $10. You got it? Shit. So okay, here's 11. I'm in. $1 tip. Where do we go? Let's trip, right? That's what it is, because it is still George Lopez no matter what. Even if he's going to give us the same old material, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Well, guess what? I'm going to be there laughing and not being able to breathe either, because I think he's that funny. Okay, so now subsequently, since all this happened, he has apologized to Ralphie. Oh my gosh, right? He apologized to Ralphie. Why? Because the people demanded an apology. Now, he didn't have to do none of that. He didn't have to pay that. No, never mind. This is George Lopez we're talking about here. This is an actor, a famed actor, comedian, a author that has more money than you and me combined. Yes, I said it. Fill it up with unleaded. I'll take a half tank because I ain't got much, right? But he definitely chose to call this guy behind the scenes and apologize. Now, real ones do real things. We speak on it every day. Hey, man, if you want to get at me, Holmes, you ain't got to get at me publicly. Get at me behind the scenes. So we're hypocrites when we say, hey, he should have did that in front of everyone. But in this case, I think he should have. Was he totally sincere in his apology? Now, of course, Ralph is probably just happy to tell. I mean, it's George Lopez. Hey, is that gay? What's happening? You know, he hit him with the Barry. I was about to say Barry Manilow. I was get real George Lopez-ish, right? But no, he hit him with that Barry. Right? Telling me this, you're telling me that, right? Guard! He practiced what he Anyway, George Lopez got at him, and whatever that conversation entailed, whatever he told him behind the scenes, I'm sure that sparked the young man's enthusiasm. And he was like, man, I didn't even know what you said. I don't even watch YouTube, but hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for tapping in. Can I open for you? Charlie. Okay, well, that'll work too, right? Let me tell you something. The man at least stepped up to the mic and rocked that mother. He jumped in, George Lopez on that phone, and apologized to him. Not because I bet he felt he had to. Charlie, you think hey, oh my gosh. We're talking about George Lopez here, gente. Do you think that man ever feels intrigued or that he feels he has to do something? Charlie, that man has built his career on charisma, on his stories, on his ugly ass look, on everything that he's ever done. He's built it on being himself. And one thing I can tell you about George Lopez from the outside looking in, just seeing the type of character he is, because I've seen him in the water in the hood so much, he's not the type of author that feels he has to apologize to anyone. What's said is said, Holmes. But in this case, he chose to because the cry out was real. Do you understand? The same people that make you will cancel you out. The same people that support you will unsupport you. Now, one thing I can say for Ralph, and this is straight up, Holmes, facts, and this is coming from a real one who really did it, right? All publicity, I say, is good publicity. If I had George Lopez call me right now, hey, man, what's this? You said sold out? You said sold out on YouTube? Yeah, I said that. I said that, but I didn't really mean it, eh? It was just to get your attention. Can I get a kiss me through the phone? Oh, no, the Soldier Boy, stand up. Tell him, right? One thing I'll say is facts, is that George Lopez did reach out to this guy. Now, was the apology sincere? I'm here to tell you, maybe so. Why come? How come? I don't know come. But one day I come. Orale, ask Tortiano, she'll tell you. But one thing I'll tell you is for sure and for facts, Holmes, and I don't just state frivolousness, I state real. He did it. He did it. Now, do I feel in this instant it should have been done publicly? Should the people have been able to be privy to the conversation? I'm 50-50 on that one, like a 50-50 yard, man. Half in, half out. This is what I think. I think that conversation was a great thing to have been holding, to have had behind the scenes, because that's what real Raza does. They tap in before they tap out. They're like, hey, bro, trip out on this. A lot of answers are saying a lot of things about me, homeboy. You got the game messed up. Yeah, I said you're a pool butt. So what, Holmes? I don't know you. I don't know you, but I apologize for not knowing you. Now, I don't think it went down like that. I think it went more along the lines of this. Hey, man, you see all this stuff going on? Hey, I would never do that to you, eh? You know what I mean? Hey, tell me what you want, eh? Tell me what you want, eh? You know what I mean? Something like that. Now, of course, I dropped an exclusive video where Paul Rodriguez actually was talking about his interactions, his willings and dealings with George Lopez. Now, Paul Rodriguez is a very well-respected comedian, Raza comedian in the Raza community, someone who's a pillar of faith in the community, does a lot for the community, and puts on a great performance, and has been doing this since 78, since the 70s. I was born when Devate was going, get behind me, right? He's been doing it. 1,000,000 to 1. I'll buy an orange. Now, trip. And he's talked about his interactions with George, and you know, George tried to slide him 300 to open for him, and it was just like a slap in the face. He spit in his hand, you know, but when the roles were reversed, he looked up for George with a little 25 thou wow. Now, I understand people get money and they forget where they come from. People tell me on YouTube all the time, Gun, you're going to get 100,000 subscribers. You're going to forget where you come from. I'll never. forget where I come from. See, I've built my whole foundation on YouTube on where I've come from, my stories, where I was, what I wasn't doing, what I was doing, who I was back then to who I am now. That's all I have is me. To come correct and to keep it in righteously and in effect, I have to give you the real. Now, George did that in the beginning, and he's giving it to you real now. He really changed, didn't he? He changed for the better or for the worse. So I don't know, so help him God, right? But he definitely changed. Now, Ralph Barbosa is coming up, and like I said, all publicity is good publicity. Do I think George should he have apologized in front of everyone? I think so. I think he should have went on and publicly apologized and said, you know what, hey, Spence, what I said about that kid, I didn't really mean that like that. This guy just didn't know the cat at that time. Now I watch him, his eyes. You know what I mean? He ain't all that, but he's fine. He's fine. He's coming up. Show some integrity. Show some professionalism. And more than anything, show some raza. That's all we ask, you see. Now, who are we to ask you for anything? We're not asking you for a dollar. You know, we're not over there, you know, I need a refund. I heard that joke back in 2004. No, we're not doing none of that. What we're doing is showing support for all the gente. And when someone that we know is coming up, someone that we know the torch, you should pass that flame. That's it. See, that's what real ones do. Real fake ones don't. See, Hulk Hogan didn't want to pass that to Ric Flair. And guess what? Salas! Ricky took that. Woo! And in that fashion. Order the Four Horsemen. I used to love it because it was the four and I was gangbanging at that time. You already know what it is. Anyways, do I think the apology was sincere? Halfway. Halfway sincere. I think he did it because everybody was tripping. He didn't want to lose more support than he already lost because he's a Barbosa, and because if you're not with the trans, he ain't with the trans. You know what I mean? All that, this pronoun thing. But in real life and on some real game, I think that kid took it for what it was, and it was like, hell yeah, George Lopez called me. Imagine him calling you right now. I don't care if I didn't like him. Like I said, I have to call me, and he was like, hey, what do you want to eat? Give me some tacos, George. Okay, not those dumb ones that you order. I want good ones, eh? You got money like that. Now, trip out. Will this flame out, burn out? Yes, it has already. You know, it's pretty much done. I believe Ralph Barbosa will continue to prosper. I mean, this right here was all he needed. About to win on the Tonight Show, whatever show he went on the other day, the Jimmy Fallon or the Jay Farrow or the whoever it was, you know what I mean, hit with an arrow. Yeah, I don't know. They got all these different shows that are going on. He went on a platform, and guess what, man? He rocked that. He did that. He started to be known. And then, of course, all George Lopez did was have the reverse of founding effect, where now all of a sudden we all know who this kid is. Or if we don't, we're definitely tapping in to find out. You know, one thing I can say for sure, Raza, is the doors keep opening. Whether Vatos try to keep them closed, open this puto, we're coming in. Home invasion style. One way or the other, and that's a brown thing. The what way, brother? What do you mean there's Mexicans everywhere coming in? Yes, we are, bro. Yes, we are. Well, Spence on La Tierra. Exactly. Guard. Let him know. With that being said, gente, it's all good in the hood. He apologized. Oh my gosh. Was it a sincere one? I'm sure it was behind the scenes, but in his heart of hearts, man, he wouldn't have did this unless we pressed upon him. That's why it's up to us, Mexicanos, Chicanos, Raza, period, having platforms to hold our own people first and foremost accountable. Not to get involved in other people's business. Oh, we can speak on what we want to speak on. We're brown and proud, homeboy, and we're going to continue that struggle into the next slide. But one thing is for sure, it's up to us to hold our own people accountable. And in this slide, I guess we did it the right way. Did he do it the right way? Some are demanding sangre still, right? Hey, Vato, you don't just do that. And some are saying, hey, George is a good dude, homes. He's been doing it a long time for the Raza. Let that guy go, man. Let him do his thing. And I'm here to advocate and say straight up, George, I send my respects. You're still ugly as hell, but I said mine. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming to you. And remember, at the end of the day, if you're not pushing that Gunners Profiles, Gunners Collective, what are you doing? Sincerely, mess with me one time, gente. Mess with me, because I'm brown and I'm proud to be brown. You already know what it is. Hit me with that like and subscribe one time. There's a thumb. You have two of them. One of mine is crooked. You see that? One's this way, one's that way. It is what it is, man. It got broken, a fight between the North and the South back in the days. That's how real it got. Yes, I have a thumb. They call him Chueco. You know what I mean? This one they call Maniaco because buzz down, Tortillana, buzz down. You already know what it is. If you don't like me, you can hit me with that thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this Grizzlies crown. Yes, I'll say Grizzly today. Baby, Team Diamond. We ain't dropping them, humps. We're dropping trays. It is what it is. You know what he says. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose and get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, I'm here to bring the Raza together and speak on some facts, speak on some real. You see the Mexican flag in the back? We know where we're derived from. We're derived from Mexican flags, cucarachas, nopales, food stamps, vatos on the corner selling oranges, and a tortillana that's ready to buzz down. That's why all the guys in there are like, I'll take a while. I like the brown or wet. There they are. Bang, bang. This is the gun. Orderly George and Ralph, step up for the Raza.